It began on a wedding day in the kingdom of Mathura. A great celebration, streets decorated with flowers, music filling the air. Two noble families joined together. Devaki and Vasudeva had just been married, and her brother Kamsa drove their wedding chariot himself. A gesture of love, of family, of joy. And then a voice came from the sky. "Kamsa," it said, "the eighth child born to your sister will be the one who ends you." The joy drained from his face, replaced by something cold and calculated. He drew his sword and turned towards Devaki, his own sister, still in her wedding clothes. Vasudeva stepped between them. "Please," he said, "do not kill her. I give you my word. Every child we bring into the world, I will place in your hands." Kamsa lowered his sword and imprisoned them both in the darkest cell of his palace, bound in chains under constant guard. And he kept his word in the worst possible way, because Vasudeva kept his. One by one, as each child was born in that prison cell, Vasudeva carried the infant to Kamsa, with trembling hands and tear-filled eyes, hoping each time that mercy might come. It never did. 6 children, 6 times, the same merciless ritual. The 7th child was moved by divine grace to another womb and survived. He would become Balram, Krishna's elder brother. And then, Devaki became pregnant for the 8th time. Something changed in her, a radiance, a glow, as if she were carrying not just a child, but a light that had been waiting for exactly this moment to enter the world. Kamsa could see it, and he was terrified. He doubled the guards, strengthened the chains, sealed every door, and waited in the grip of a fear he could not name, that visited him in sleep and followed him through every waking hour. The night of the 8th child came in darkness, a moonless night, a storm rolling across Mathura. Thunder, rain, the whole world held in a kind of breathless waiting. And at midnight, in that prison cell, Devaki gave birth. And the cell filled with light. Not lamplight, not moonlight, something else entirely. A light that seemed to come from inside the child himself, illuminating the chains, the stone walls, the faces of his parents, wet with tears and wonder. Vasudeva looked at his son and saw something he had not expected. The child looked back at him, with eyes that held something ancient, something that recognized him and spoke without words. "Take me to Gokul." And Vasudeva understood. And then something happened that no lock, no chain, no guard had the power to prevent. The chains fell from Vasudeva's wrists. The prison doors swung open. The guards fell into a deep and sudden sleep. And Vasudeva, this man who had just watched 6 children die, who had spent years in chains, who had every reason to be broken, picked up his newborn son, held him above his head, and walked out into the storm. The Yamuna river was flooding, its waters wild and dark, rising with the rain. Vasudeva stepped in because there was no other way, and the water rose and rose until it reached the child's foot. And then it stopped and fell back and parted, making a path through the flood for a father carrying his son through the storm. In the village of Gokul, in a house where a lamp still burned, A woman named Yashoda lay sleeping, exhausted from her own labor, her newborn daughter beside her, the whole household deep in sleep. Vasudeva entered, placed his son beside Yashoda, took the sleeping girl and walked back through the storm, through the parted river, through the open doors, back into the prison, where the chains closed around his wrists again, and the guards stirred, and the doors sealed shut, as if nothing had ever happened. When Kamsa burst in at dawn, he found a girl child, not the boy he feared. He grabbed her and raised her to dash her against the stone floor. And she rose from his hands, into the air, laughing, and transformed into the goddess herself, who looked at him and said, "The one you fear has already been born somewhere else and is already home." I want to sit with one detail of this story, just one. Vasudeva, a man in chains, who had watched 6 children die at Kamsa's hands, who had no reason left to believe in anything, picked up his son and walked into a flooding river in a storm at midnight without knowing what would happen next. He just walked. The river parted, not before he stepped in, but after. The miracle came to meet the courage, not the other way around. There is a teaching here that has nothing to do with miracles and everything to do with them. The light does not wait for perfect conditions. It enters the darkest cell it can find, at midnight, in a storm, through a man who has every reason to give up and one reason to keep going. That reason was enough. I'll leave you with one question to carry into your day. Where in your life is the river waiting for you to step in before it parts? This has been The Long Thread, Ancient Stories for the Present Moment. Tomorrow, another thread.